Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to our 6th Yoonaverse edition. I'm happy that we have our great partner Google today, thanks to Amelia, who's coming there. Please come to the front, would be nice for everyone if somebody's sitting also here. And another thing I have to add, please do only photos here in this area. Google doesn't allow photos and videos in other areas. So what is Yoonaverse? What is our idea? yoona.ai is a B2B fashion tech company, and we started Yoonaverse to bring fashion tech closer to companies, to brands, to designers, and so on, and also bring a community together talking about fashion technology. Today my first guest is Stefan. He comes from Boston Consulting Group, and I was last week there, or 2 weeks ago, invited to listen to the new report which Boston Consulting Group brought out and published. It's about fashion technology, and I was very impressed and very happy also to hear that's all about data, right, Stefan?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, come here and present yourself, and we start with your presentation about this amazing report we heard about.
Thanks for the intro. Yeah, I'm Stefan. I'm partner at BCG, and together with a large team of colleagues, we do basically work at the intersection between fashion and luxury and technology, which unfortunately a lot of times we use rather sitting at the whiteboard. Mic is not on? Really? Shall I get this one?
That's actually got our audio on this one because Carol is missing.
Yes? Does it work? Perfect. So, what I was about to say, fashion technology consulting, most of the time he's rather sitting in whiteboards and crunching roadmaps and not so much going to fashion shows. So I'm actually pretty happy to be here and presenting the new study. We work, then we can go to the next page. We work a lot with fashion companies around stuff that is currently shaping their life. They're under a lot of pressure. Technology is changing, consumer preferences are changing, new market entrants come to the market and they need to react. And probably as you might know, larger companies that have been in the market for a while, they struggle with being fast, with being flexible and so on. And we see that nowadays this becomes a real issue for them, because new competitors enter the market at a much faster and a lot more the consumer actually wants. Fashion luxury companies are not known to be very digitally savvy, to be honest. They have a lot of catch-up to do still. When you compare them to other industries, they're at best somewhere in the middle, so they need to do a lot of catch-up. This is of course not true for all fashion luxury companies. Yeah, there are some exceptions for sure. And what we see, for example, is that digitally the pure companies spend a lot more on tech than the companies that are, let's say, a bit behind the wave at the moment. What you can see is that traditional retailers spend around 1 to 3% of their budget for tech, whereas digitally mature companies are a couple of times more, which shows actually the necessity for going more into the tech space. What has happened recently, as most of you might know, is ultra-fast fashion companies have entered the market, which of course is a big market disruption. Companies like Google and Shein. And what we did here, we just plotted briefly the revenues of a well-known retailer, and basically one of the leading ultra-fast fashion companies. And you can see that these companies are evolving very, very fast, which of course means they grab a lot of market share from existing companies that are established in the market, which of course for those existing companies is a problem, right? Because the market doesn't get that big so fast, so they lose kind of their market presence. Maybe a quick question to this group. Who has bought already fashion on ultra-fast fashion websites like Shein, like maybe short ads? I would have expected honestly more hands. What we found recently is that especially with young women, the interest for ultra-fast fashion is very, very high. This picture looks quite trivial, but it actually is a pretty strong signal for traditional fashion companies to act. If you think about it, 64% of young women have shopped ultra-fast fashion, and what you can see also is that preference for these companies is actually shaped with consumers. If you ask them what kind of fashion they like to shop, we saw an increasing portion of consumers actually wanting to buy ultra-fast fashion. And what is also interesting is men are a bit behind, but they have a high interest, which is actually quite an alarming signal for traditional fashion companies, because this is actually getting really bad, and it will take away revenues from them. Besides the ultra-fast fashion topic, we found a couple of additional consumer insights. What we actually did was we did a large-scale survey with 10,000 consumers across 10 countries to see what consumer preferences look like today, and find out what fashion companies need to actually do with that and that tech. So what you see ultra-fast and ultra-disruptive, we talked about this. Price and value is number one. If you ask consumers what is most relevant in shaping their decision of buying something, it's price and value, basically a combination, not just the low price, but they need to see a big value in what they buy. Out of stock means out of revenue. Large companies oftentimes struggle with complicated supply chains, and if you want to buy the product, it's not available anymore. What we saw is that basically 2/3 of consumers end up not buying anything if the product they want to buy is not there, which means you actually need to have the supply chain ordered quite well in order to not lose revenue. And then lastly, high interest for high tech. Consumers actually express high interest in more technological solutions such as yours, for example, or Gen.ai topics, virtual try-ons, and so on. So companies need to kind of give this to them because they want it. Then omnichannel dominates. Omnichannel dominates. It means that offline shopping will still be very relevant. If you ask consumers where they buy their clothes and their fashion, a large proportion of them, more than 80%, still use both channels. So offline is here to stay. It's not pure online for sure. Offline inspiration matters as well. Yeah, consumers shape their inspiration of what they like, what they buy a lot offline in stores, with ads and other things like that. So ignoring the offline channel is actually not a good idea for fashion companies. And I think also for traditional fashion companies that have a lot of stores, yeah, some of them thousands of stores around the world, if you leverage this correctly and use it to your advantage, you can actually create quite a lot of competitive advantage compared to online pure players such as Shein, for example. Online buys more. People that buy online tend to buy more, higher amount of products. They put more products into their cart to buy them, which creates more revenue. And then last, mass market is using online. Mass market companies, for example, such as the ones that you know from the high speed, they are not doing as well online. And then lastly, recommendations drive revenue a lot. In order to do proper recommendations, you need to target your customers very well. You need to know what your customers want, who they are, and be able to do like ultra personalization on them. We see this increasingly as an expectation for customers to do. Content expectations are evolving. Consumers want to see high quality content, good descriptions, good pictures, videos. I think this is a perfect case for Gen.ai solutions. But in order to get all of that right, you actually need to get the data right. Yeah? Experience matters. Obviously, consumers are more willing to buy with companies where they see a nicer experience in buying, and then mixed willingness to pay for sustainability. As you all know, consumers and sustainability is still a topic that's been evolving. And if you ask consumers outright, are you willing to pay a premium for a sustainable product, they typically say yes. And it differs a bit by income, by gender, by age, how much they're willing to pay more. On the other hand, if you ask them whether you prefer to buy your clothes and they say ultra-fast fashion, then probably there is something off in the results. Yeah? So sustainability for sure is relevant, but I think companies need to properly understand how attractive it is. What does that mean now for companies, fashion companies? If you think about it from a technology perspective, what do they need to do? So number one, companies such as the big fashion retailers, they have super outdated technology setups. Yeah, with systems that are sometimes 20 years old, 15 years old, that are just not up to the task of delivering a good experience, of being able to provide the required data and so on. So deliver lean platforms to maximize business agility. As a business, you need to be able to act fast in this world as all these changes shape the market at the moment. Number two, you need to unify the shopper journey. I mean, not only unify, basically make the connection between online and offline as good as possible. And of course, this is a lot true for traditional fashion retailers that have a lot of stores that they can leverage to their advantage, as discussed earlier. And then lastly, embrace data to elevate the business to the next level. This is not a new topic, but increasingly you see that companies that don't have the proper tech setup struggle with that a lot. And this, of course, prevents them from being able to do all of these nice Gen AI topics and consumer targeting and so on. So data is super key. I recently came across a picture on X. And maybe you've seen it on X. You have those basically notes on the bottom that users can tag to a product. And put an ad by key with a dress, and it's an AI-generated dress. And interestingly enough, on the bottom there was a comment: "This offer is misleading as this dress is AI-generated and not produced yet." Why is this relevant? If you think about the previous page. This is actually a lot of things need to come together for you as a company to be able to produce such an ad. We need Gen AI, we need proper customer targeting. We need to have a very flexible supply chain, which all of these companies actually do. They can produce on demand, which is a pretty interesting concept. And still, I would say users and the consumers need to embrace this a bit more. It's actually quite interesting that Gen AI created dresses flagged as misleading because it's not produced yet. But I think this will establish itself more and more in the market. I'm really curious about what tech is going to bring to fashion over the next couple of years. For sure, a lot, and looking forward to engaging with some of you around this. Thanks a lot.
Should we have time for questions, or you don't answer? Does anybody have any question?
I would say there's still a bit more of an experimentation phase around this. What needs to come together to do this, you actually need to have proper processes that allow for that. Yeah, if the company wants to use AI more, they need to be able to integrate it into their production process, into the process of designing process, and so on. I would say this is coming more and more. At the moment, my assessment would be it's still an important experimental stage, but it will evolve a lot over the next couple of years.
And do you think this fashion threat control AI technologies, or the manufacturers produce the clothing to work so that they know what kind of tools, machines they have, they know what the machines are capable of, and then they can like add AI to the capabilities of their machines that are known and go this way, so that it's realistic, that it can really produce what you create with AI?
I think it's a very interesting question. I mean, I would say that no matter who uses it, the kind of software that you produce for that, the AI that you produce for that needs to take account also the production process for sure. I mean, you see with those companies that produce on-demand clothes, yeah, so basically everything is kind of integrated there. And I think that's the way to go going forward at some point.
Thank you.
Yeah.
How do you narrow the field of ultra-fast fashion? Like is Zara or H&M ultra-fast fashion or only fast fashion?
I would say the ultra-fast fashion companies are more those new upcoming Asian players, such as Shein, for example. that have a very different setup. I mean, they are quite new, they have a very fresh tech setup, they have very flexible supply chain, they leverage AI in any part of their business basically. From the design flows, production flows, customer targeting, anything of these areas.
So is it like how much they produce in terms of time? Like they drop more clothes, or which criteria apply?
I would say it's not a scientific definition, but it's just around those areas that I just mentioned, that traditional players such as the ones you mentioned are just not capable of doing yet with their more, let's say, legacy setup that they have.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stefan.
Thanks a lot.
I'm very happy that you came to Berlin next time for us.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, thank you. So that was actually a good pitch for our next presentation, which is with my co-founder Steven and me, right, Laura? Okay. We would like to talk about our experience in fashion brands and how we build AI around it. So we are yoona.ai. We try to bring what Stefan talked about into the brands. That's why Yoonaverse, you heard me once, you should know. And what our goal is to make brands the top sellers again, because we know our industry is a big struggle, and we try to solve this and to revolutionize their processes. Just to start a little bit myself, I was a designer. I was studying fashion design and master bachelor and so on. Learned coding, went back to university, and came into business intelligence and with that to AI. Here you see my first projects. First software I created was transforming sports data into designs, and then we launched a research group in the university, and the next one was, no. And the next one was a fashion show sponsored by Microsoft, and all the designs have been already created by AI, and this was 2018. So AI did not come last year, it's actually already existing since 1920, invented by Alan Turing, and we did already AI fashion shows 2018. Let's have a look. I wanted to write my PhD, went to all the fashion companies and found out that everybody has a challenge. It's time and cost, and I met a lot of designers who have been close to burnout. And I found out that 70% of all decisions what fashion companies are doing are decided in the design stage. So let's have a look at the next page. Companies like big fashion companies, fast fashion companies, or companies like Puma, Adidas, and so on, they're designing 44,000 designs per month. They need 67,000 hours, but the worst part is 70% of their products are not sold. We have a new law now, and warehouses in Paris of all luxury companies are filled with clothes they cannot sell because they are not allowed to destroy their clothes anymore. But then, thanks to Stefan, we had a look to Temu. Companies like Temu and Shein have like less than 1% unsold products. So how can it be? I know Temu and Shein, they have a lot of shitstorm because they are not sustainable, but actually the production isn't that sustainable. But all what the work behind this data Stefan was talking about is super sustainable. They only produce what people want to buy. That's why we saw the AI picture perfect. I'm a fan of that because it's all calculated and all the technology behind. They really calculate what people want to wear and they sell. Except our companies, you know, in our world, they don't sell. So Shein and Temu, they are eating the market, they drink our milkshake, and now I give over to Steven, or should we go to the next page? Here you see our companies. Shein, they need 9 days to produce on-demand production, and our companies in our world, they need 70 weeks to produce a design or a collection. Next page. Now we come to the solution, and I give over to Stephen.
Yeah, so in Yoona, what we're doing is blending the past, the present, and the future. So what does that mean? The past is the performance data, so how a brand is doing, basically the brand DNA, what's sold well, what's their best sellers. We scrape the market, we bring all the best sellers from the market, and we take all the trend data. So blending the past, the present, and the future. We present that to designers through a very intuitive interface. They can then take this investigation stage, drag it into the creative stage, creation and modification, and then create outputs, thousands of outputs, even hundreds of thousands, in very few clicks. The whole platform is built considering a holistic journey of the designer. So you start off with inspiration, then you go to creation and modification. So it's not just like DALI, where you get an image with mushrooms and unicorns behind you. It's actually a Fleischstelle, like a cutout, and you can then start modifying. So you can change the neck to a V-neck, you can change the colors, you can change the patterns. So designers can keep working, and then you output it into a collection, you output it in format for 3D programs, or you send it to your boss, to the management to approve, and you can track the lineage of your design. So why is this one yellow? Because our best-selling design is yellow, and competitive design is yellow, and the trend is yellow. Maybe not, I'm and that's how it works. You can track the lineage, you can explain it. So this is what we're doing within the platform.
Yeah, this is actually also what Shein and Tim was doing. They gather all the data. It's only work based on data, right?
Yeah, exactly. And the problem is, which was strange to me, is that a lot of fashion design is designed based on a designer's intuition, rather than looking at the market and seeing what is selling and then copying that. So there's a lot of fear when I talk to designers around AI, about AI replacing designers. It won't replace your creativity. It'll take away the never out of stock. It'll take away the basic tasks, and it'll bring you closer to the market so that you can then have more time to apply your creativity to designs. So this is what we're talking about here. So, for example, in this design, we have the original code. Beside it, we have a variation made with AI, and then you can see the third one. The third column is an influence of patterns. So in this case, it was patterns from
Paris Fashion. From Paris Fashion.
From Paris Fashion Week. And you can see how it's very easy to follow the lines so that you variate, and then you add prints, and you can bring all that in just a few clicks. Again, so the platform is set up to be worked on your data. So as a brand, we're bringing in your DNA, and this is what differentiates us. We follow your best sellers, and then you can blend them with best sellers from the market. You can blend them two of your own best sellers, and you can make new additions, or you can blend them with trends. And you can see here we're modifying. You can see the neck has changed, and it's a simple click. Type something, say modify the neck, and in seconds you get new design.
Next. Yeah, we work with different technologies. You want to talk about it?
Yeah, I mean, without going into too much depth, there's different ways that we can, using different technologies behind it, we can produce different outcomes. So on the one hand, we can train a model, which we call a digital designer, and it can create literally hundreds of thousands of outputs. On the other hand, what we can do is blend two designs. So you can take a short dress and then it's a long dress. You can see I'm using all the fashion terminology. You can blend these and you get a mixture of these two designs. Or you can take one design and you can change the pattern, the color, and you can mix and match so that you get the pattern from a pair of trousers and you can put it onto a t-shirt. And these are all different designs that we have, different models that we have implemented in the platform.
We launched this platform 2021, very technical oriented. It was almost only business intelligence platform, and all the designers could not work with it. And said, I cannot understand what should I do here. So we brought another part in, which we call Get Inspired by AI. And every image what you see has like a tool, so that designers who are not really interested in business intelligence and calculated designs can keep working with look at Jana. She's a very creative designer. Keep working with this product, which was actually calculated. Now we're coming to some examples of companies. You want to talk about the part?
Yeah, I mean, so this is what you can see. We have two different types of dresses. You see the
Yes. Yeah,
neck is different. And you can see in the platform you can adjust the influence of one on the other. So you can have a heavy influence or a light influence. And in the three examples here, you can see how the pattern and the shape change depending on how much influence comes from one to the other. So it is still creative, and you can still experiment, and you can still work. It's not like pressing a button and your job is done.
Yeah, in the back end, we calculate, we really analyze sales data of companies, and then we come out with the bestseller, and then this two bestseller can be chosen by the company, and they can create new bestsellers.
You can do it based on your bestsellers, or you can blend your designs with the competition's bestseller.
The same, here you see the analysis. It's like from Yoonaverse, for example. We analyzed all the colors that they had in their collection, and then we came up with new designs. And what we also did with Generative, we took all their technical drawings and worked with them, so you can work with everything, all based on your data, what you upload to the platform.
And this is a client we're working with whose focus is on color. So what we can do is analyze their best sellers, extract a color palette, a range of colors within their products, do the same with the markets, and make recommendations of best sellers, which were the best selling colors, which were the secondary colors that went with the best selling colors, how your competition doing, etc., etc. We can do this automatically. For them, it takes them 3 months.
Yeah, for them it takes them 3 months for the designer sitting there, and then the designer's coming out and saying, oh, I believe the new color is green, and then we are again not selling 70%. So what are the benefits? Actually, Volker, you can conversation on So we just brought out our sustainability report. Volker, our co-founder, was writing that report, and then you really see what technology can do. Technology means from A to Z, so the whole holistic value chain. And we see we have like 99% CO2 savings, and we are 87% closer to the market. That means right now they need 70 weeks. They bring out their collection. The trend is already gone. They don't say 70%. You can do. I just recommend download this thesis from Volker and see what impact we have in our industry with such a technology. And as you saw before, they need 70 weeks to bring out a collection. They can cut it down until 8 weeks. We did the test with Generative, which is the next page, Laura. We come from 67,000 hours to 9,600 hours only using technology for their collections. Yeah, who's that amazing? Yeah, I think also, what we also recognize, and that's why we founded also Yoonaverse, because we go in every company to everyone and doing like explaining what actually AI means, what technology means, even still 3D design, we are explaining to companies. That's why we founded Yoonaverse and also our Yoonaversity, going into the companies and doing all the consulting to work faster with technology. Thank you. Now we are open for questions.
That was all explained so well.
You said you can access your competitors' data, or at least plot your data against one of your competitors. How do you get that data from your competitors?
Can I make a joke? I saw this meme the other day, and it said, never ask a person their salary, never ask a woman her age, never ask an AI company where they get their data. Basically, it's open data, so it's on the web, so things like e-commerce, because they always have a list of things, what the best sellers are, you can spot. And then, as we build a database, so we have a data lake, which all the data goes in, it's saved securely, and then customers can access that through like intelligent search functions. And they basically search through what they're looking, what products, and we rank them by best sellers. So it's open data, which Which also gets around the GDPR thing, because it's not personalized data and it's all already on the web. Any other questions?
I can also see a little sad aspect actually. Sounds terrible. I'm not loud enough.
Yeah.
Basically everybody says everything is just following mainstream takes on social media and like the setting of trends or special ideas probably will diminish or
No,
back behind.
I mean, let's do this first. Have a look in this room. I mean, what do we wear? We wear black and white, and maybe now we have two persons wearing something special. In the market, it's actually like that too. 80% are basics and mainstream, and 20% are. That's what I'm saying. Look around. It's always I'm answering this always because people think fashion design is creative. I mean, Jana's super creative, but she's more an artist. Because she has no white and black shirts to sell, right? But the industry is not creative. I know so many people coming out with burnout, just drawing 15 million shirts, like black shirts again, just in a different way. So it's not that. It's actually good to take over, and AI can take over the boring part, and we as designers can be creative again. Now you can.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
So if I understand you right, you're saying that the Chinese market, they're using this technology already like all in, right? And my question would be like how, if you know, I don't know, like how deeply is that involved in the German market already? Like how many, is that every fashion brand knows as much as the Chinese people do, or we just behind like with electronic cars?
Yeah, this is that.
Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, they're not. This is why we exist. So it's, I mean, 70%. I would say if you had a hotel chain and there's a 30% occupancy, there'd be something wrong. But the fashion industry are quite prepared to burn 70% of their stock. So they're not using it. They're designing on hope. And I mean, they need to catch up. Or in Shine or Sheen, they have captured 50% of the fast fashion market in the US. 50%. In the last few years, yeah. I'm not sure exactly, but in the last few years, yeah. And they're only getting faster.
Exactly, manually and guessing. They only, what Stefan was talking about, they analyze everything, so they know what people will buy. So they produce actually on demand, and nobody knows that. Esther's one of our investors, she's very into sustainability. She will know that she is pretty bad, right? But everybody thinks about the production only, but they produce on demand. They let people click 1,000 times and then they produce. So after even calculating it, and then this data comes in again into the production, into the design process.
They have less than 1% on sold inventory. I mean, that's crazy. Compared to 70%, which is like the other. Yeah, probably returns, yeah.
Thank you.
But isn't it the people keep the clothes that they buy from Shine just because it's extremely cheap, and it doesn't mean that it doesn't end up in a trash bin like next month? Like I don't know, I have some clothes that I have for 10 or 20 years. I can't imagine like Shine clothes to last that long. And I'm not even talking about the decades. I have something from my grandma, from my mom, which is I still have, and something that I plan to give my kids. I don't know, because it's valuable for me. And Shine will never. It's not enough to say that, yeah, they don't have ways, that they only produce on demand, but it's after.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, but only if you have 70% of unsold clothes, and maybe if you just go a little bit higher, maybe 40 or 30, then it would be obviously perfect. And of course, you have to see some other percentage by people, right? You know. But still, if we hire out, it's still not. No.
It is true, 1%. But then at the same time, the industry itself is lowering the quality. Like, you look at a pair of Levi's from 30 years ago, they're not the same quality as today. Because Shein and Temu and these guys are outselling them, so they have to try and keep up. And the way they keep up is to produce more at less quality, which is not the right way to do it. The right way to do it is analyze and produce less but sell more. So even if it's not 1%, you know, if I come to any company and I say I can offer you 20% more sales, it's a no-brainer. Any more questions?
Done, right? Okay.
Okay, thank you.
So I welcome Jana on stage. She was studying also in the same university I did, also fashion design. She does print designs, which I also did. So she's great similar designer. And I was but still working in it, not like me coming into fashion technology. And I will give you the stage and you explain what you do.
Thank you so much. So my label is called Impari. We are a social sustainable label. About Impari means unequal and you learn. We are a community brand that means everything is based on a social project. I will also talk about it later. Here you can see some of our designs, our online shop. We have a store that we moving, so we have an opening in August. It will be in Torstraße Street in Berlin. Yeah, we are innovative sustainability through 100% recycled PET materials. So I reuse plastic waste and I have a zero waste technique, and also my prints are all self-created with a 3D. I scan them 3D and I also work in the beginning with my hands. So it's still really handcrafted, but later on I also use AI tools. Here you can see one of the summer collections from the last year on COP. That was, the meaning was uncoupled, so like disconnected from the earth, that we have to come back to reconnect and get back to like the thinking about environment, sustainability, and also create something innovative. This is my last collection from the Fashion Week in February. Here we celebrate water tank bags. Everything was about like clean the earth from plastic waste and also clean the water. And you can see like all the prints. I also wear one of my dresses from this collection is also created out of plastic waste actually. Here you can see some details from this collection. You can see I also had on the first picture here a collaboration with Stratasys. It's a company from America. They do 3D print, and in the end we want to work with them in the future because I'm on the way to work and to create my own material out of PET waste with our social project. I will talk about it soon. And we also have a zero waste practice, so we reuse all our offcuts, so we don't have any waste. Create new pieces, new fabrics out of it. And here you can see our different prints from this collection. Now I come to our social project. We have a project in Ghana, Takoradi, where we teach young creatives sustainability practices, but also creative identity. And on the left side, you can see, of my view on the right side, you can see our last show we had in Accra, in Ghana, where our participants were representing all their looks, and also we teach a media department how to use sustainable practices even in the media department. Our new project called With Without Waste, and we will start with it in August. We will produce our own filament out of recycled PET materials as well in Ghana. Here we collaborate with different companies in Ghana with the Social Entrepreneur Hub, where we work with young companies and entrepreneurs that already do recycling practices, and also with universities. And we want to create a whole economic circle within our project and combine this with social sustainability. Here are some pictures from some shoots I had lately, and yeah, I'm happy to connect with you all. Any questions?
Okay, good morning. What's so special about your own PET things?
The special about our brand is actually that we combine this with a social project and with agile learning. So it means like all our participants, they work on it by themselves and create this material by themselves. So it's actually a community-based program. So it's not only about the material. The sustainability focus is not only about the material, it's about the whole process, and that we bring sustainability, because this is what also my brand is about. It's not only look at the resources, you also have to look what is afterward there and what can we bring to different communities and how can we grow together something new and innovative.
My second profession is photography, and so that's the reason so I have also connects to models and fashion designer. And my first profession is healthcare industry. So I would like to just ask you, related to before the presentation, so this kind of ecosystem is should reduce the waste and be more performant in this configure. Do you think this kind of platform can be migrated into your business? So for instance, a configuration, so the consumer can configure the color, the raw materials, the size, and all it is generated by AI. And this will be then has a high impact on your production processes.
Yeah, of course. So I believe the biggest problem that also Anna said before for us, especially for young projects and brands, is the time and capacity, because we do a lot at the same time. And if we can use AI and have more time for the important stuff like creating new designs, but also work with with our participants, that's a big goal actually. But there's always a but, that the difficulty is also the money side, I would say. So you have to learn the programs and you have to teach the people how to use it, and this also costs time.
Okay, thank you, Jana. So next one on stage is Raimo. I met him in Mathematics. That's the AI part of Berlin. All AI nerds, we are part of the AI accelerator, and actually Mathematics invested in Raimo, and now he talks about his company.
Thank you, Anna. Hello, everyone. So I'm the co-founder of a small startup called Lux, and as Anna said, we're here in Berlin. And what we do is build immersive e-commerce experiences. And it's great that I'm speaking at this point after the amazing presentations that you've had, because I'm going to take you now to the very far end of the customer journey, after production, after sourcing, and tell you a little bit about what is the opportunity that we see that AI can unlock at that level for consumers. And of course, it's around immersive experiences with AI. Now, when we talk about immersive e-commerce, we usually think of virtual try-on. So the classic, go into a website, find something, and at the end you'll see a try virtually on me button, and then you'll see clothes on you, or sunglasses, or furniture. But that's not what I'm going to talk about today. I think probably immersive has a better talk about that. We do also work with it, but I'm gonna convince you or pitch to you another way of exploring an immersive experience that could help consumers not only make a better decision, but also be more convinced about their choice when it comes to buying. And it is as simple as, what would happen if we bring that button that is at the end that says virtually try on me, and we bring it to the beginning, and we start the experience with an immersive situation. Thank you. So, why should we even talk about this? And now I'm talking directly to anyone working on e-commerce or brands that are facing consumers. And the situation that you're probably aware of and that we have already touched upon briefly is that we are in a very complex e-commerce environment. We are in a low margin environment. And we see three factors that are driving this. The first one is that it is an overcrowded market. I mean, just go ahead and try to buy something on Amazon. Everything is on Amazon. And if you're launching a D2C brand, you would need a big personality behind it to make it work. So it is difficult to start to compete. And this is related to the Temu Shein effect that we have already touched upon multiple times. And I will not go deeper into it because we're all familiar with it. It is easy to replicate a product with the integrated supply chains very fast. So brands, especially fashion brands now, see the book with here we go, thank you. And we're still this one. Thank you. So e-commerce brands feel this pain, fashion brands feel this pain quite closely with Shein, as we discussed. And all of this is happening under the dominance of big tech players, Google, Meta, TikTok, which makes it for brands and retailers even harder to have any type of leverage when it comes to owning the data of their customers, where they're coming from, what are they doing, and on that touch point to reach to them. So now, if we get to my next very interesting slide, if we add AI to all of this, it will just make this environment even more flammable. It will make it faster for anyone to launch a brand, a product, faster and cheaper. So we're already in an environment where brands and retailers are competing on basically selling the same products at the same prices, in the same channels for the same eyeballs. So AI might complicate this for new entrants and also incumbents. So what do brands do to overcome this? They do three things. They optimize, they play the game, they invest in branding, or they work with KOLs. Let me just walk you really briefly through this before I tell you how we see the potential solution with AI to this problem. Now, optimizing is very straightforward. You all know about this. I'll give you an example. I'm a millennial in my 30s, so I'm very deep down into the rabbit hole of skincare. So I was searching for a sunscreen, and the moment I typed in sunscreen last week, actually, in Google, my whole internet world became sunscreen. And you're probably familiar with this situation. You know, that's what optimizing is. You're playing the online advertising game to try to get the users to select your product, which probably is priced equally than others. But if that, yes, thank you. If that, that's okay. If that's, it's still, if brands still struggle to convince someone to buy the product, they might recur or go to branding investments. A good example here is, you probably know the singer Rihanna, right? She launched a beauty brand, and it was one of the first cosmetic brands to have more than 40 shades of foundation. And this was a game changer, right, for people with darker skin tones. And of course, people bought it. But then other brands did, and launched also multiple foundation shades. But people still bought Fenty, they bought Rihanna's brand, and they did it because of her values. That is the power of branding, right? And sorry, by the way, I know we're talking all about fashion here, but I will make some cosmetic references because this is also where one of our industries, and you'll see in a second. And the last one is KOLs, working with KOLs. This means key opinion leaders. It's a fancy word for influencers. And when I was searching for my sunscreen, suddenly I came across this guy who told me personally how he was on an airplane and all of the flight attendants come rushing to him, begging him for his skincare routine, when this guy was only wearing sunscreen. a sunscreen that was tinted, perfectly moisturized for oily skin. This was me. He was talking to me. This is who I wanted to be, or what the effect I wanted to have. Not exactly him, actually, but that's what I wanted to find. So that's how I went from, having a €9 Nivea sunscreen to being willing to pay €40 for a sunscreen that is not even sold in Germany. And I was, I'm still trying to do everything to get that sunscreen. And that's the effect that you want, or retailers want, in their customers, to do anything and everything to get that product at whatever price, because it feels like it's perfect for them. And all of these brands, what they're doing by using these three techniques is just personalization, right? Making the consumer feel this product is perfect for them. Now, personalization, the problem is that it is expensive. The more expensive, the more efficient, but the less scalable. And these three tools have personalization at different levels. So how can brands scale a similar effect so that you can escape this price war, a race to the bottom where we all are, where brands and retailers are? I spoiled it at the beginning, you know where I'm going with this. The key is immersive experiences. If you get consumers to see products on themselves and get convinced by seeing products around them or on themselves, you are winning the game, because you are replacing the influencer, making the user their own influencer, and driving that conversion power that is usually only reserved for those with the capital to scale massive personalization campaigns. And that's my message for you today, to think of immersive experiences not only as a try-on, but as a tool. And a tool because if you leverage this technology to help consumers make a better choice by using, for example, augmented reality or a virtual try-on, then you're capturing their attention before they even know they need your product. And that's how you win the game, by using actually this, by the AI technology that is becoming more and more realistic. Let me give you 3 examples of how we have approached this. The first one is we build a tool to help consumers learn how to use products in the cosmetics industry. The second one is we help them discover products efficiently in the fashion industry. And the third one is we help them improve that behavior, so be more efficient. Thank you. So we built an augmented reality cosmetics tool. That was our first product. Because we realized that people that do makeup, a lot of them are interested in doing contouring. Contouring is a makeup technique that if you do it wrong, people are going to notice real fast. So they wanted to do it, but they were scared of doing it wrong. And so we built this tool that scans their face, gets their face shape, which is the main criteria to know how to do contouring, and then allows the users to select what style they want, and they will have a tutorial happening with their faces. So they can follow along and do contouring with the products that they have. And the whole concept behind this is, we're building a tool for you to use every day, but eventually, you're going to want to try a new style. You're going to want to try a new product. And we're going to already know your skin. We're going to know what you want, and we're going to be able to place it right next to your daily routine. Now, we did the same in fashion. We created a tool that uses generative AI, so it's diffusion models, so that users can prompt outfits and clothes on themselves until they find something they like. And once they do that, we find the closest match that they can buy. As you see in this GIF, she was searching for floral pants, and then they found the closest match. So it's the reverse approach to virtual try-on, and it's focused on helping people discover products more efficiently. And the reason why we're so excited about this slide is going to take a minute to load, I believe, but yeah, here we go. Because we're seeing how the diffusion models are becoming more realistic. And this actually we built a year ago, and it took us like 2 months to build, to see how people would react to seeing themselves on and how realistic it will be. And we are just more and more impressed, and as Yoona also is seeing, of how realistic that experience is of building fashion into people. And finally, our last product is a digital wardrobe app. And same thesis behind it. Let's help people use more of the clothes that they own, so that whenever they buy, we can give them a better recommendation. As we heard before, we use only 20% of our clothes or less. You know, there's a bunch of stuff in our closet that we don't even know it's there. And this tool allows not only people to make better choices, but potentially to open different business models. Because if suddenly we have the world's wardrobes, we can unlock resale without people having to upload clothes. And potentially for people that don't even know they can sell something, or that they want to buy secondhand, because it's very different to see it in you, next to the things that you own, than going into a store, going through that whole funnel until you make a decision. So if you're not convinced at this point that you potentially need an immersive experience, or just start working on it, because also a reminder, what I'm proposing now is just one part of one of the things you can experiment with AI next to the many things that we're discussing today. Well, you better get ready for the largest generation in human history, which is Generation Alpha. These people are less than 12 years old today, but we can already see by comparing their behavior to the more older Gen Z generation, how most of their activity will be happening on platforms that are not websites. They're not going to be scrolling endlessly on Amazon or Zalando to buy something. They are getting used to a different way of engaging online. Think TikTok, of course, but also think Roblox or other gaming environments that are really redefining how they spend their time online. So, you know, I put up this slide at the beginning, which was a little bit scary, especially since we're all about AI today. And it was not meant with a negative approach, but rather it is quite a different situation if, yes, I'm up next, if you are the one that's holding the matches for this AI revolution. So that's it. Thank you so much for listening. I'm very open to questions if there is time. Thank you. Yes.
It's for the end users for free to use, and they generate the revenue from the data sponsors, or?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we started as a consumer tool, and we were planning on generating revenue via affiliates or partnering on directly with retailers. But now we're shifting our model. We're a startup, so things change every day. So we're shifting our model to more of a B2B model, so that we integrate these technologies within existing retailers or platforms. Now, if you try to find our apps, they will probably not work, or you will not find them. That's why. But we did have these consumer apps that were used or tested by more than 60,000 people in total. Thank you. Cool. I'll be around anyways. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. Before we keep going, I want to remind you that we have drinks on the left side. We have water and wine and what else? Laura?
I don't know.
But there are drinks on the side, just that you are aware of that. I would like to ask Jana again on stage, and Younes and Sebastian. So welcome on stage, everyone again. I mean, you know now Jaime and also Jana, but do you have a mic, Sebastian? Oh, you can check. So, but I would like that you both, who are new on stage, that you present yourself before we start.
I'm Sebastian Zimarke. I'm born 81. I'm a kid of the transition. I'm curious. I'm a studied communication designer, and I went through many changes. AI currently, and they are I'm a self-called disruptive mathematician, so I make money with memes, and currently I do what I want.
Great.
Hi, thanks for having us. My name is Yoonaverse. I'm an art director for AI design. I work with these diffusion models on a daily basis. different industries, and I'm also a digital artist, working also mostly with AI, so building custom workflows in Confluent for different kind of cases. Yeah. And thanks for having us. We actually met on our event.
Yeah, that I wanted to, you didn't talk any, you organized this all of years together and you didn't talk about it. You're actually in collective also organizing events, right?
Right.
Yeah, quick network events, very, nothing special, no microphone, no recording, just 8 talented people and 80, just a community, nothing shared on social media.
They don't make it small and great.
Yes, I know, but it's for us very, very simple because the Metaverse company Journey is supporting it. Thank you, Neo, again. And we did it 2023 every month. I mean, that's the pace that we want to keep it monthly and making many conversations out of that. Yes, thank you.
Okay, thanks for info. I would like to maybe start with time. I have always seen this question, hey, what means AI to you? How can it change your way, the way of e-commerce or your field where you're working in?
Well, I gave a glimpse of where I think the change maybe in our field, which is on potentially new ways to discover products or to make a decision. That's what's most exciting to us, I believe. But like I said, I think definitely early as well for that, and not the only way. And even though now, we're getting there are two ways in which you get exposed to AI. Either it's consumer facing, so of course there's a chatbot revolution now with everyone creating their own chatbots with the APIs. But there's also what we don't see, which is how can we get better recommendations, how these products are created and so forth. But I'm a big believer that there must be a different way to shop that is not scrolling. And that's what I'm betting on, of course.
Yeah, that's a good question. I can share that. And you, Yoonas, what means AI to you? How is it impacting your work? What is the future for you?
Before I go into that, I would like to build up on what you said about the scrolling, because when I was working at Journey, that was also the pitch we made always, that now we enter into the era of web, where scrolling is out, and it's rather walking through like Fortnite and so on, like immersive engineering. But yeah, for me, AI means more like a bridge of different disciplines. So it's an enabler to kind of connect. For example, when I was a painter, I could not collaborate with other artists, but now I can collaborate with people from dance, from film, from different things, and I can use that really as a bridge. So yeah, that's what it is for me.
Yeah. For me, it's really important in my print business. It makes it easier to and faster. So that's really important in the fashion industry.
I just was thinking about I work like you. How it actually to explain to somebody what it takes to make a print. If you work with Photoshop and all of that, how many hours you work on that actually?
Yeah, sometimes it takes weeks, but we don't have weeks, so we do it in a few hours. And with AI, it even make it easier, and I think it's really important. And I hope that also for our project we have now, and we start in August, that for the waste minimizing, that we can try it out before we actually build it. So that would be great.
How you use the best one?
It's a new tool, AI, but it's also a new aesthetic itself. So in 2018 we were already experimenting with dance. We worked with Kylie Jenner on one of the first fashion editorials with this.
Kylie Jenner?
Yeah.
Can you not send Kylie Jenner to Jana so we can send her some clothes?
That's a complicated management of this kind of stuff, I mean, that's a longer story. But the question was, what is AI? So again, a tool and also a complete new aesthetic. What is created in the latent space, and it's a journey to new questions that lead to more questions, and hopefully reflecting on certain things. I mean, at the beginning we wanted to create typefaces very exciting, when I think about the beginnings. And back then we had to train gigantic data sets. We had like analog data set management, 16,000 pictures just like for the eyes and the lips, and now you need not much, I think at the beginning the team was completely crazy to even do this for 6 months to create something new. But I guess in this case we needed a bunch of interested people who don't care that much about how much they get paid, this kind of stuff. AI is, it's now 24, 6 years ago, and AI is for me, of course, potent, it's very fast. Yeah. As I work on
You talked about techno before and about different people. Like what is, you said for people now, the future is going to be different. How do you see
because I had a meeting with my former boss, who's a very famous designer-ish, and the book that I have in my bag is basically the first techno exhibition from '94. Today is 24, so it's 30 years ago. There are some people in this room, I'm not 30, maybe you're not 30. But I'm personally very interested because, as I said before, I'm born '81. I grew up collecting techno flyers and looking at the love parade in the TV or this kind of stuff. But I think what's in this case very interesting is the perception of the future. Because for the generation now, it's absolutely different to the 50 years old and this kind of stuff. There's this wonderful documentation on Arte, it's called Capital B, and it shows the decades in Berlin, 89 to 99, 99 to 2009. So I mean, Berlin is changing, and yes, it's very interesting to talk with other people. And this city was once GDR, so there's so much history to discover here, and not everything is happening on TikTok itself. It's even the biggest platform. I think, to talk with these people. I'm interested in the history of the DJs, the early computer graphics. There was a conference 3 days ago at the UDK with the Generative legends, like absolutely crazy room. 80 weird guys with funky shirts and weird beards. I like this type of humans, but totally mathematicians and yes, just the history of computer art or generative art or whatever. And the dreams that they had, because what is techno, then it got this underground commercialized, the dreams get sold, people want to grow, get bigger. It's a long story. Every youth culture till now became mainstream, and so this kind of stuff. You can buy punk now at SaaS.
So what I read now in Yoonaverse is like AI will become mainstream and we won't have this discussion anymore, right?
I'm personally not that much interested in absolutely mainstream. I discuss with my friends digital counterculture, book clubs, hacker spaces, meetups without flyers, or it's like somehow.
Okay. I give over to Jana now, because we have not that much time. The football starts soon. Did you face any challenges to work with AI?
Yeah, I actually already stated before. The most challenge is the time and the capacity, and also the learning of new programs that we as young brands and young entrepreneurs don't have. And also, of course, the money to have to pay the time to learn.
That's very interesting for us. what should the AI tool, how should it be to it? That you understand it as a designer and you work fast with it? How should it be like?
I think,
Sustainable or something?
yeah, it should be more easier to include in our own processes because we are used to the old processes when we work, like how we learn in university. So I guess the starting point would be to bring it to the university and actually already start in the beginning to work with it. Yeah.
What do you mean?
Classes in
Using how?
no, yes.
Somebody
I mean, I was
all good.
no, I was helping in Central St. Martin. There was only one girl finishing the master degree with digital fashion. And
Sophie, we have to go to Utica and do something, right? So fashion class or something. Sophie's sitting there like a
yeah, all good. I mean,
happy.
I don't know everything about these things, but I'm talking with Antwerpen or other things. It's not, they're the professors, they're not pushing this.
Do you think that, I think it's gonna be also a lot driven by the young curiosity and interest of the younger students that go probably and learn more on YouTube in class, and then they come to the class and they're already ahead of teachers. A lot of what's happening with ChatGPT, for example, that teachers are fighting against it, but there is no way around it, honestly, because students are already ahead learning by themselves. And maybe with fashion it could be similar. What I think could be interesting, Yana, maybe what I see also when interviewing consumers, so what we're doing is how accessible are the current tools to people that have no more learnings or expertise with prompting, for example? Because in our tool, that was one of the challenges. We have to really get good at prompting. And I imagine that in your design tools, you also have to get really good at prompting to get the results that you want. And that's maybe something that we either evolve by companies just making UXs more approachable for people, or people just getting ahead and just doing it, figuring it out on their own, as it happening in schools.
We did a test of Felder & Felder, it's a fashion brand also, and we needed 92 prompts to get actually out what they wanted.
There you go.
Oh, yeah, we have, after the panel we have like a workshop on prompting. So
Just to build up on that, I think prompting is not enough, like, because as a creative or as a designer you need a certain amount of control, and the prompt is the only mechanism to control your output. It's just not enough. And that's like most of the pipelines you build in professional cases, there you work with different kind of mechanisms to really get to the output you want. So it's also not enough to just prompt, you just really need to, that's why Stable Diffusion is like the best working toolkit out there right now, because all of these AI tools that come out now in the cloud, they're just tiny features of that whole toolkit, and prompting itself is just not enough to get to the output you need.
it's interesting, do you think that we should just not have prompting in the interface, just solve different, like buttons or something like that?
Yeah, like prompting is one mechanism, but it's not the only mechanism. Like, and for example, to give it some image references and so on, and to kind of really tell the AI, well, how much weight should the prompt have, or how much freedom do you want to give it, and so on. These are all kind of mechanisms utilized.
Jana, where did you find the tools you work with?
Oh, actually, often they came to me kind of. So in the process, because I started with my hands to build a little framework out of waste, and then I scan in 3D, and after the 3D scan, I use different kind of AI tools to maybe generate something that I include in my prints, but the base of my print is still this, what I crafted with my hands in the beginning. So it's a mix. That's why it's never just AI generated.
Do you think Raimund will be always like a mix? Jana was saying it's a mix of her work. Also in your case, will it be completely AI or will it be always a mix?
I think what I'm also getting from what you say is that it depends on who we're talking with, right? What type of users do we have in front of us? In our case, we focus on consumers that didn't have the time or the experience to go further and use many tools. They needed one thing that served their purpose and be very specific for that. But once we get into something more technical, maybe you will probably need to incorporate more tools. But then also if you think of other areas like generative design, and you look at the steps that Adobe is taking or Figma even for user interface design, they are trying to keep you in there and not to go to another tool. Also Canva, you know. So I think it's in the interest of companies to just keep you in their ecosystem as much as possible. So I dare to say that you might be even shifting to that direction more than the aggregation of systems depending on the use case.
Yeah, that's true. So I got a question for you here. You have to hurry up a little bit. I was just taking design. I'm so sorry, it's just a question. How you balancing AI and art, and how do you think that? Is it only AI or it's the same question basically?
I mean, generative art has a long history, AI is just now coming to it. But as I said, for me, AI is more a tool to connect between different disciplines. So if it's photography, if it's painting, or if it's dance, it's like an enabler to bring that to life in a different setting. And that's how I see it. It's an input-output mechanism, so to also come back to what you said, like a prompt or something, like text prompt can be an input, but also you show the application with your face. That's also like an input that you give it. So it's kind of like a prompt. It's an input-output tool, and it doesn't have an own will or whatever. It's a tool, like a brush, like Sebastian also mentioned.
Okay, and my last question to you. What do you think about other trends? Where do you see the future?
Well, I can talk about the e-commerce side, which is where I've been looking more into. And I think it's going to be, of course, the internet is being flooded now with language interfaces, so chatbots and so forth. So I think that's going to come potentially to also an overcrowded market a bit. So I'm curious to see what happens after that, because how far can chatbots take the shopping experience further, and how can we transition into a multi-modal setup when images are actually part of the input, as you said, when you're shopping online, for example, or even more than that to find purpose. That's what I'm interested in the e-commerce space, and of course, like I said at the beginning, what's happening on the back side of it in terms of more accurate recommendations for consumers that get you to the right product faster. More similar to a social media recommendation than a similar product recommendation algorithm.
Okay, last question to everyone. If you see a huge wall in Berlin, Alexanderplatz, what would you write there to tell the world? One sentence. You can start.
I would just paint the Michael Jackson cover on it. But I don't know. There's so many things. Just like go back or something, you know? Like that wrong way. Wrong way.
U-turn.
For me, it would be like to think about the impact more also in the way of social sustainability, because I think it's still not there yet in fashion.
I'm not sure if I understood the question, sorry. Is it like what we would write at Alexanderplatz?
No, there's a huge wall and you can write one sentence on it. Everybody will see it. What would you write?
I would probably just paint something
What would it be?
like a ketchup bottle.
What?
I like to paint ketchup bottles. Sebastian always gets annoyed by that. Yeah, the Heinz ketchup. Yeah.
And you, Daniel?
I think we'll just write, you're right enough. I think people need a little bit of encouragement moving forward.
Okay, now I invite to stage John and Zitu, right? John? And we get a little bit prompting, a little prompt workshop, because we have a lot of people coming to our platform saying, oh, we write prompts, but it does not do what I want to do. And then we started to wonder, well, where is it coming from? And then we did a test with one company, Felder & Felder, and recognized they needed 92 prompts to get actually what they wanted, to write the right prompt. And now I give over to Chan and Setu.
Yeah. Thank you very much for the introduction. And I'm very happy to be with Setu. And we will teach you a little bit or tell you how to improve your prompting skills. So, wait. Yeah, perfect. So, as a little introduction, we have two pictures for you. So, on the left side, you will see the picture which was generated from a user and the prompt which is above the image. And you can see when you read the prompt and see the picture, it's not really the output the user wanted. So, what we did, we created our prompt and the tips we have later for you, a new version of the image which are generated. And you can see on the right side, it is like a collage of different results from the prompt you see over the picture. And you see it's much, much better. And later we have set some tips for you. But as a little introduction, I give this credit to my colleague Sito, because it is, how I think, a perfect comparison to that, how you can describe good prompting. For example, when you make spaghetti marinara, so you can go to the supermarket and buy your own sauce in a jar, and it will taste good, it's okay. But you can go to the farmer, the local farmer, buy your vegetables and create your own sauce. It's much better, but not perfect. The best way is when you grow your own ingredients and create everything by yourself. Then it really tastes like mouse pasta. So this is the way. And I think when it comes to content engineering, I give it to you, Sibyl.
Yeah. So before starting, I have three questions. How many of you like to cook? How many of you love to cook? Great. Then you just have to transfer the skills of cooking to home. That's it. Or you know how to do it. And the second question, how many of you tried prompt engineering earlier? How many of you have been successful? After how many times? Okay, then let's get into the prompt engineering. So, as Jana said, it's all about the ingredients you use it in cooking. So prompts are just like that. You have to use your own words and get what you want out of it. So I will say how the write it, just a simple formula. First, start with defining the subject. So if you want to have a t-shirt, just start with a t-shirt. Or say you want to have a t-shirt or what color t-shirt. That should be the first one, focus on the subject. So the second thing is like enhancing the descriptions. So let's say you have a t-shirt, but you need it to be a full sleeve, either top, collar, and so you can keep adding all those things. And the third thing is like image type. Image type is like you want a like a painting, a 3D rendering kind of thing. It usually changes the entire look of the image you're going to create. And then the image trail is kind of like you add 2-3 different things, like how close you get, is it a portrait or what kind of thing. And second thing is like, what is alignment? Should it be a natural alignment or do you make it? You can also add textures and meta-light filter or just. And then the big one also comes with the image trail, but still you can do it. I think there is a sort of error. The viewpoint is kind of like the image should be on the center, or that's the focal point of the camera. And the final thing is like rendering. Rendering details the kind of like how detailed it should be, how detailed it should be. Does the image should be a high definition? So you don't have to add all those things, but it depends what you want. but it depends on what you want. So usually what we do is like we concentrate, let's say if you look at the formula, usually we do the subject, description, image type, whatever. These are the main points to make. So before getting into the results, I will say a few tips which we learned from our users. Start on the start, focus on the object. That is the first thing I already said. Then the sequence of the prompt. If you're not cooking, you should start with pouring oil, add ginger garlic until the raw smell goes out, and add the onions, get the sweet flavor, then go on with the tomatoes. You can't do the other step then use commas to all the prompts to get the flow. There is a difference between add olive oil and olive oil. There is a difference. Then choose right words. I think presentation, choose your word. And start. These are the simple results we got from the prompt engineering. I will start from the middle image. These are generated from our own platform actually. And you start with a floral t-shirt and you want it on a background, white background. Then you say you need a full view. Sometimes when you're training prompts and you ask for a t-shirt, if you want to see a full view, sometimes it is fully focused, sometimes it comes with a human. So you have to guide the model, ask what you want. You have to guide it very well. So I'll go with the first image, the white t-shirt. It has more descriptions. After you say white t-shirt, white color, you have the descriptions of the t-shirt, so you can achieve what you want actually. So this is more advanced prompt. Usually I said start small and concentrate on the words, what you want. But there you see a big tab. And the right side, the prompt, and the results are on the right side. But if you take out the realistic art scale with natural lighting to enhance the visual atmosphere, you took that out from the prompt, you see this thing. You can see the difference with images on the right and the left. Yeah. Now, standard prompt can be the automation.
Yeah. So, of course, we have also other things, not only the text image tool. In Yoona.ai, in the Get Inspired part, we have also, for example, an image modification tool, where you can, not only with a prompt, but also with a marking pencil, mark the area of a piece you want, and then describe with the prompt how the modification should be done. So, when you see on the left side, we set VNAC, and if you see also right how it's written, you see that we got VNAC. The original picture is the middle one. But when you see on the right side, we wrote V-color, he doesn't get it. So it's still important that you know, okay, Jose said to spell and write the words correct to get a good result. This is also, for example, some examples from the image modification part. You can see two different dresses. On the left side, there's always the original part. Under there on the right side, you will see the prompt we used, just simple round neck and V-neck. And when you mark the area and the color area, you will transform the original one with the modification that is entered in the prompt immediately. And last but not least, we have also a sketch design tool. Before the modification tool, we have the free things included, but here now we have only two things included. It's the sketch you have, you will upload, and then also the prompt you will use. So here it's important to know that technical drawings like here are very good to use, but also you can see here on the left side the technical drawing we use, and on beside that is the prompt we also use, and on the right side you have the output we got from Yoona.ai. So you see that there is a possibility just to prompt images just with a normal prompt, but Yoona.ai shows also how we create images with other things like sketches or modification concept. And yeah, that's all in all. If there are any questions, we can start.
Everybody knows prompting is a tool, so
everybody's a problem. So. For this
Right now we're using stable diffusion. Stable diffusion.
Okay, thank you. Series of videos where we are explaining how you work with AI. We have a little change in our schedule. I will invite then Robert Anderson from yoona.ai first on stage, and then we have Solana, and then we finish with Amelia and Max Pintus the evening. And then we can watch football. Okay, that's perfect. Okay, then Stephen.
Again, I think everybody knows who I am. Becca, do you want to introduce yourself first?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Hello, I am Rebecca. I do many things. I come from more of an academic background. Originally from Canada, but I came into my PhD here in Germany, and I've been here for a long time. And I do largely community development, but I'm a sort of anthropologist, and now in the last years, much deeper into
Just any, I don't know.
Okay, so I think that leads us on to the first question, which is the million-dollar question. How do you describe Web 3? And what is Web 3?
What is Web 3? How many people in here have any idea what Web 3 actually means? I know you do. You're not putting your hand up.
Anybody like the Bible?
Okay, so 3, 4. Okay. Web 3 is sort of like an all-encompassing term that can include most everything that involves blockchain. So this can include DeFi, decentralized finance. It can include NFTs. It can include all of the different aspects that sort of touch the blockchain technology, but it includes also community structures and is like a catch-all phrase that sounds a little bit more friendly than blockchain because that can scare people away. So that's a very rough general idea.
Okay, so then what part do Solana play in that? Can you maybe explain a bit about what Solana do?
All right, so there's multiple blockchains. A lot of people have heard of Bitcoin and Ethereum, and Solana is also one of the largest blockchains. We're sort of known for being extremely fast and also quite cheap. There's a lot of people that can't afford to transact on some of the other blockchains, but Solana is very scalable, so it's made for user interfaces and things where it's actually can be used by large numbers of people. What was the other question?
No, basically, what are the benefits of Solana? So you've covered that. So let's look at the fashion industry. So you mentioned the word transactions. So let's talk about some use cases and what transactions mean in that. So for example, I mean, people have heard of NFTs, but like, what are the extensions of NFTs? What are the use cases in fashion? And are there other use cases? For example, community building, DAO.
Okay, so to boil this down, is because blockchain is an enormous topic, but the underlying technology that gives it its power is that it has these distributed systems that, so there's a global network of decentralized computers, basically, that verify and validate the information. So even if a large portion of these were to go offline, you still basically save all of the information that has been processed through the blockchain. So this allows for decentralized sort of activities, like you said, DAOs, which are decentralized autonomous organizations. So it allows for people to have different kinds of communities, for example, voting, and this has also been used within fashion brands to help develop communities. NFTs are what are called non-fungible tokens. Previously, there was no option of how we actually can buy something that is not physical, right? How do we actually own something that doesn't exist in our physical world? So having an NFT allows us to actually own digital goods, which previously hasn't existed before. So you can see a lot of examples of this come into fashion and gaming, where people can actually own their avatars, they can own clothing in their games, right? So as an example, if there was a game or a metaverse, which there's a lot of overlaps between fashion and the metaverse, somebody can say, hey, there's this new release from Adidas. They have these new jackets, I really want to be involved. I would really love my avatar, because that's how I'm representing myself online. I would really love my avatar to wear this jacket and show off, similar to our daily lives, right? We like to show off that we're potentially part of something, or we want to show our individuality. And I say, okay, I would really like to buy this jacket for my avatar, and you can do a transaction on blockchain. You can send your digital currency and buy the jacket. Previously, in different games, currently also in a lot of games, you don't actually own any of the items that you have in that game or in the metaverse. However, with NFTs, anyone can also verify on the blockchain, because it's a public ledger, that yes, in fact, this wallet owns these items. And because you own it, you can also resell it and be part of a marketplace where you can participate in a larger scale thing, rather than only having this one directional relationship with the brand or advertiser or game or whatever it is.
So this is very interesting. You talk about two things. You have the ledger and you have the traceability. So this could also work in terms of royalties as well. So designers can share royalties through NFTs. And the other thing is kind of end-of-life traceability. So if you have a designer garment and you have, let's say, your digital twin in the digital realm, then when you pass on the garment, you can also pass on the NFT, and you can track where your garment's going. We had a question earlier about Timu and Shein will never have a second life. But this is a digital version of that, the longevity of your birth.
Absolutely. Okay, so royalties, what's really interesting, especially, I come from also an art background. What NFTs allow for creators and designers, for example, previously, if someone is a digital creator, or digital artist, animator, anything where your art doesn't live on a physical canvas or paper, for example, there's no real way for you to monetize your work and actually sell it. But if you have an NFT, it creates this digital signature that says, yes, this is the original. You can trace it on the blockchain, you can see the provenance, you can see who created it. And so it's allowing a lot of creators all over the world to actually have access to this global market where they can sell their work and also participate in this, this global market. And designers and other creatives are recognizing the power of this, because not only can you sell your artworks or your designs or whatever it is, and it has this stamp of approval that you are the one that created it, but there's also the option to implement royalties, which has never really been able to exist previously. If I sell one of my artworks, I get paid for it once, and then it's gone, and I have no idea where it goes in the world. Whereas, if I have an NFT, I can put directly into the contract that when it gets resold, I will get anywhere from 5 to 15 or 20%, however much I choose. And because it was my creation that I owned, and you can see the process of who buys it, and every time it changes hands, I get a percentage of that. And on top of it, I can have a direct relationship with my collectors, or if I'm a designer, also the people that are buying or wearing my clothing. And I can see exactly where that NFT lands and have a connection with them, rather than my artwork going into the ether. It goes to a gallery and gets bought by somebody, and then many years later, there's no traceability to it, right? To your second point of traceability, which is really interesting, you're seeing a lot of phygital, so the physical and digital connection. And there's people are using NFC chips, for example, or different technologies to embed chips or tracking devices into physical items when they're created. And they can also have a digital twin. So you can actually track the authenticity of it you can track, there's some watches that come with little certificates of authentication, but they're figuring out how to do this digitally as well, so that you scan your NFC chip or your QR code or whatever it is that's connected with that physical item, and you have the ability to show the whole journey it's been on. So you could also, brands and people that are creating the whatever it is from different places in the world, right? If you have different factories in other places, you can also verify the quality as well as the whole manufacturing process.
Yeah, exactly. There's another use case that I've heard about with NFTs where if you're a brand, then you can use NFT almost as a cookie. So basically where, I think it was Ed Sheeran that it was at a concert, so when you bought the ticket, you downloaded an app, and the app was essentially a wallet, and in the wallet was an NFT, and that was one you couldn't sell it on. But there's a possibility for brands to do collaborations with genuine fans and upselling and cross-selling, which I think on Solana is a little easier because it's quicker and cheaper.
Absolutely. There's all of these sort of different creative markets that are using blockchain for different features, and having your community become involved and participate virtually has become much more interesting. It's not that you only just go to a concert once, but yeah, you have the NFT ticket in your wallet. If you collect different NFTs, you can prove that you've been to this many concerts, and there's different musicians or creators that are giving rewards on that basis as well, because you can see everything in terms of how often they interacted or what kind of participation they've had in your community. Designers and brands are doing this in a way as well, whereas if you have a certain NFT, if you participate, then you have access to the newest collection. For example, you get first access because you can actually tangibly show how you've been engaged and for how long with these different brands and communities.
And maybe we should just touch on things like meme coins. The very famous gummy coin. But the question is, like meme coins, in case you don't know, is a coin that's created around the community, basically. There's no real value to it. But do you see something like that being of value for a brand, where they can create something that represents their brand, and then users or fans can buy into it, that support the brand in that way?
So there's different examples. So meme coins are a very specific niche that have become popular in months. And it's not necessarily the best example of how blockchain technology can be used, especially when you're looking at community structures or governance or voting or things that have real world impact. But there's an interesting example being shown where people can rally around a certain meme, which is basically how we create cultures anyways. I come from this cultural anthropological background, and we're always creating memes in our cultures and ways to communicate with each other. There are already different NFT platforms that create their own tokens, and you can participate in that. And it's become a lot more explored, especially in the terms of how people are participating in communities, right? So if you, for example, have an NFT or participate in a community that has a certain kind of token, that token can give you voting rights, right? So I can choose, say there's a vote of, okay, we would like to do a worldwide tour to show off this new collection, or musician, or whatever it is, and if they give the community the vote, maybe I'm heavily invested and I have participated a lot, maybe they've given me a lot of tokens, airdropped me some tokens because I participated, or I've bought the tokens myself, and that potentially can give me more voting rights. Oh, I'm in Berlin, I really want to see them in Berlin, so maybe my vote counts for a little bit more because I participated. So there's different brands and organizations that are potentially using tokens as a voting tool, as a participatory tool, and also to give power back to the people that are supporting it, because they actually get to choose how the whole organization can potentially be directed.
I mean, I think that's very interesting for like, fashion brands where people really buy into the brand and really live with them. I'm not sure if I'm doing it for time, but let's look to the future and see what do you think it is? Because AI had ChatGPT, as Anna explained, AI has been around for years, but what do you think is the big adoption moment for Web3? How can brands jump on board now? What do they need?
Well, as with everything in life, things go through cycles, right? So if we look back to 2021, NFTs were like the biggest, hottest thing, and people are really getting curious about how to use them. And as you mentioned, meme coins are currently the moment of the thing that are bringing a lot of people in. So with each cycle, there's new kind of iterations and new kind of curiosity of like, okay, we have this technology, how are we going to build on it, and how are we going to use it? Eventually, blockchain is sort of, a lot of people talk about, so we don't actually, the vast majority of us in this room, or the vast majority of people, don't necessarily know how our internet actually works. The different broadbands and the various kinds of fiber optics and the different or whatever you want to call them. And eventually, the blockchain is going to be less of a technology that you talk about on its face, but it's going to be used in a lot of these apps or ways to track our goods or services, or the fact that we can have NFTs that represent what we buy in the world, and whether it's real estate or have our different things that are actually validated onto the blockchain in a very concrete way. But the vast majority of people, it's not going to be visible or even interesting.
Exactly. Right? Just like banking now.
Exactly.
Okay, I think that's a great outlook for the future. I think it's a good place to wrap it up. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, come up to us after and we can answer. We're just running short on time. But thank you very much.
Now, welcome, Robert Anderson. I was just scrolling through LinkedIn and then I saw that Yoonaverse is doing something with AI. And I was super happy and was directly getting in contact with them. And I welcome today Robert Anderson, Managing Director for Innovation. Is it working? Okay. And I think he can better explain than I do what Yoonaverse might actually doing nowadays with AI. And I would give it over to you.
Let's do some of this.
Number 2023.
Thank you very much. Thank you everybody who's still here, and we have 30 minutes until we can see the last German, the German team is playing, and I have to be honest, the Spanish will kick our asses. So therefore, I will do it very quickly. I'm Robert Anderson. I'm a managing creative director. JBM is a European creative agency brand. I'm specifically, I'm a trained engineer, so I mostly work in creative technology. And so what I'm trying to, the reason why I'm here is just because of one reason, because for the last 3 weeks I addressed 600,000 people in sweatpants, and it was very easy to me, and I can show you everything. So,
in November 2023, Hyundai stirred up the Reddit AI Weeks community, leaving its members in disbelief.
So usually what we do, we don't work in fashion, because usually it's a low margin brand thing. Most of the stuff we do is like automotive related, and what you see here is a co-creation where last year you could prompt the Hyundai Santa Fe, which is a copycat from Hyundai of the Range Rover, and so you could create this Hyundai Santa Fe by yourself. And the specific thing about the car industry is that you have a car model, but the car model is there, but no one can drive it yet. So there's a certain time when the car model is announced, and then it takes market by market. You have it first maybe in England, then you have it in the US, and then you have it somewhere else. So it's like doing this in a way to create it that everyone can drive it before it was actually usable was the case here. And what we did was like a co-creation, and what you also see here is like the usual conf UI interfaces. We will go into this like in a second. And what you also see that we had a big problem actually creating the right car. And this is still a thing, no one really cracked the code yet. We sometimes are lucky and find a way to do this. You maybe know how controllers work, or like IC adapters work in Stable Diffusion. So this is a way how we then transfer the product into product AI, so everyone can use exactly the same car. And it was kind of like a success because you compared the mid-journey, there were like way more cars created, Yoona cars created on this API we created compared to mid-journey, which is like huge. So the reason I'm here is like because all this technology we usually develop like for automotive brands or other brands also can be used just for fashion. So as you can see here, so it's easily now to just recreate the same model and use it and wear them differently. And also like you then combine this like with a digital stand-in, and then like change this, or Yoonaverse, and then let them walk somewhere. So this is like an easy process. As soon as you start with something, you then like create one virtual web after the other, and we saw like a colleague which isn't there yet anymore, like virtual try-ons, and then you can also create content. So you can do it for fun. What you can see here, we did just for our Halloween parties. I had like fun with it. Or we did it for a certain time for Christmas. Eon is a German energy brand, and then we put the new ugly sweaters on because ugly sweaters are free for Christmas. And so you could see that it's like a simple pipeline where you could prompt your own ugly sweater and make it as ugly as hell, and then also like put it on. And we were talking about prompt engineering here. I think prompt engineering is like it's a problem of the past and not the future, because all these clipper models, these things which transfer words into tokens, which is understandable by some model use, is like something which gets better every day. So I think prompting isn't like a huge thing anymore, and we were mitigating the problem with using like presets, like as you can see here, just with emojis to make it usable for everyone. So everyone is what you see here on the right side of the top. You see me here, and this is like a typical comfy interface. So this means like you have most of the stuff is used is like available open source. You need of course a little bit of programming knowledge for it. What's important, like people, if you're setting up a team, it's usually people who maybe are already like into After Effects because of node-based designing. There's like people who are heavily in 3D, people who work with like high video entertainment systems like Nuke, or like here we have like programming people. It's very easy to put everything together like in 1, 2, 3 days, and then you can do the same thing what I've shown you just a second ago. So what we did for another German brand right now for the European Football Club right now, we made it possible to transfer yourself into a soccer trainer, a football trainer, which is like which has validity of insight. As soon as you watch football, you always like want to correct this and say, oh yeah, I can do better, why do you do this and that? And so since everyone is like such an expert, when he or she is sitting on the couch, it was like interesting to put everyone into this and make them do this. And I give you like a quick roundup how it works. So you have a quick mobile website. So it's like, so when you do this kind of things, you have to decide how educated is your user. And one way is like to try to educate them, to teach them prompting, and the other way is like not doing it and give them presets. And presets are pretty good. You can combine those, give them presets and show them then what's like the prompt behind to change this if she or he wants. But what's kind of like cool is that we have done this, like we've done this 2 weeks ago, and you can see 600,000 people or 600,000 people transformed themselves in like a soccer tournament. Of course, soccer is a big thing in Europe, around the world, also not the US and Canada. But it's like something which always works. It's like it has this like cultural insight that we want to change ourselves, we want to see ourselves, and it's a little bit like a peekaboo moment that you want to see yourself and that is somewhat differently. It's like Snapchat for boomer. So this is why it works and will always work, and it's something totally different, like a virtual trial as we saw, because a virtual trial is just like to apply yourself in a certain way, or like put like a TikTok bold glamour filter on you and be like, oh my god, how amazing am I looking? This is like more like changing you into like an alternative me and be someone else, and I think this is the reason why so many people do it. And since I'm coming from an advertising agency, I can be really proud of the numbers. So time spent with this was like 4 minutes and 6 seconds, which is amazing. If you have an out of home display somewhere, you have usually like a recognition time of 3 seconds. If you spend like 250,000 euros for a TV spot ad in Germany, you probably have like up to 6 seconds of recognition of time spent with the brand. So that someone really like spends 4 minutes with this brand is like kind of amazing, and therefore like a huge success for this brand. And it's an energy brand, so it's like a low interest brand. No one has spent so much time until I think until this moment with this brand right now. So you see that it was like a huge thing, but it's a huge thing that a lot of people did it just for fun. These are all like this is like a CMO of Smart, a CMO of like our competitors, or like Eurowings, which is a European airplane company. And since I was invited to this thing, I was speaking at the K5 last week here in Berlin about this, and maybe you were there too, and Tarek was talking about how he's changing his business model, of course, because of Timo, and he was talking how he's changing about you to a customer to manufacturer. So he's like totally not doing any retail anymore. Retail is dead because Timo was spending 3 billion euros worldwide for advertising money. This is unmatchable. So this idea that you buy goods, that you store them in logistics, and then you sell them is now dead. So I think this is like now pretty interesting for all of us who are interested in AI, because the question is like we can change it from a customer to manufacturer to home to manufacturer. The only missing link we need is like this 2D to 3D converter, maybe with photometry is a good way, or good models out there, and then we can start then all brands as mostly community or co-creation brand, because then it's just like the person who started everyone. And I'm not saying that the artist, the designer doesn't work anymore, but it becomes more like an inspiration and discovery process. Then it's like a production process, so you have to produce something or design something, because it's then already like prompted, and I can like put it directly into manufacture. That's my take, and now you can go. Have any questions? Quick. Okay, good. Yeah, that's great.
There's a supply chain issue there, right?
Yeah. No, it's not anymore. No, it's like, I mean, so we're talking more business or retail right now. You have like, if you sell something on About you probably have like a return rate of 70%. If you sell something as a B2C, you can like probably like lower it to 20%, and if people pay something for shipping, then maybe you can lower it to 50%. So this is, are you talking about the logistics, or are you talking about the
Manufacturing.
The manufacturing.
Use, MOQs, and minimum order quantities.
Yeah.
That's what will happen to them. Because this is like customization, I guess, for the individual product.
It's hyper customization. That's correct. Yeah.
How will that work for the manufacturers?
Sorry. This is someone here from manufacturing. I'm a man who can say I don't know anything. Is there anyone who has a clue about manufacturing? I think you have like you're talking about like the minimum you have to order somewhere. If you are in China or Portugal or Turkey, wherever, and the price will go up. So if I want my original piece, and I can also go to like get my hair of Eden suit just made for myself, then it costs me. And the question is like, is this? I think like 25 to 45% of textile industry is child labor or like very cheap labor. So questions like, where are the childs, right? Well, is there machinery for it, or is it can it be done differently? I totally doesn't have any technology to do it. But this is like, so then we found the second missing link. The second missing link would be that do you want to change? Yeah. You need this? So we found a second missing link. So it's like how to do hyper customization, and then still how to do 2D to 3D. Another question? No. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Robert. I would like Pax Quintus to me on stage. And actually, Robert, I think you also, if you want to stay, you don't have to, but maybe it's a quick conversation between you both. Interested? Yeah. And then I have to go here. Okay. Perfect. So, actually, I have to say hello to all the people who are watching us in the Metaverse. We have a pretty good partner a very long time already, 2 years. We have been building the Berlin Fashion Week in the Metaverse. We're streaming fashion shows, we're streaming events. We have digital fashion shows, and we have also a conference area where everybody can see now this conference. We are official part of the Fashion Week calendar, And we've been building that with Lupax. So what are you doing actually? What is your company doing? Maybe you can tell us a little bit more.
Well, our company, basically, our most projects are really asked to develop new use cases, projects, do a lot for telecom operators all over the world, also for UK networks, for example. Okay. And out of these use cases, we develop products. So one of the products you see over there is Fashion Mirror. It's an XR AI fashion fitting mirror. It also can measure, and it runs really on a smartphone, so you can really take it home as an app. But also we develop Yoonaverse learning, where we now have some projects in Africa, where we, for example, last year we did a pilot, we covered the rural areas of South Africa with VR learning, which really worked really well. Now we have a follow-up with the Tequizo Trust Review. It's for, so we are really into the Yoonaverse. We do quite a lot of it, and you can test one of our products over here. It's right behind me.
Okay, thank you. Now you, Spanmark, what are you doing? And you saw this amazing AI project. What is actually Yoonaverse?
Yoonaverse is like, it's an advertising agency founded like 34 years ago. 1,200 people with 33 agencies from Beijing, LA, Stockholm to Hamburg, Berlin, whatever. And we are a creative boutique and creating hopefully cultural, relevant communication.
Thank you. We saw a lot about AI today. To both of you, I have got a question. I mean, there's not only AI, come on. Also, you have to think but there are more technologies. What do you think? What is the future of retail? You work mostly retail, you are working automotive industry. So, what technology, what else we have actually?
Well, I think we talked a lot about AI today.
I know.
So I think AI
is something else.
But I think one of the things is really what we talked a little bit is how and where and what we manufacture in the future. How does it work? It is really where the perspective is. Because somehow the way we did it the last decades, centuries, that we say, okay, we have some workbenches in China and in Africa and India doing the job for us, and we buy cheap and waste fast. Can't be the solution for tomorrow. Especially when I see, for example, manufacturing some products in other kind of hardware and fashion, CNC milling, laser cutting is here as cheap as in China. So I think automation could be one hack. We already have, for example, 3D knitted pullovers, which come directly out of the machine, which could be a solution for fashion industry, for example, where we could start manufacturing at a lot size 1. For example, your ugly Christmas pullovers. I think this could be something. So I think we could return manufacturing to Europe, avoiding all this transport and the need to always manufacture a container of something which is not sold in here. So I think that's my take here.
I mean, it was a pretty open question, right? So AI is like, it's a technology which is so lateral and is in everything. So it's hard to say that AI is something is not AI, right? And probably if you have a legit toothbrush, it's also like pretending or it tells you that it's AI. So I think it's as it's a certain thing about the learning cycle. If it's about GenAI, what we saw, I think it is like still a democratization process of what design used to be, and especially, and the only people I know are people who are really, who know their trade and who know to yield to design, because they have a big issue with it, because they say, exactly, so aesthetics will gonna change, and we also will see that, you know, like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, it was unthinkable that trap kids in Atlanta will create like a boomer track with just their phone, on their phone, and without any knowledge about production or composition. And I think we will see this, that maybe the next most selling Fortnite skins will then be created through like just like very non-professional tools, but they then will hit some parts of the target group, and therefore I'm very curious how this is gonna turn out, and therefore I'm very happy that AI is on this pace and everyone can do it. I said, state diffusion is so easy. I mean, they were just saved with another 130 million fusions, so they will probably be there, and if not, you can use Big Sigma. So I think this is a new way of like having an access to creating your vision, to do something, and therefore every one of us who has kids has a lot of things to do to play with them.
And when you're working with these technologies, how you work both with companies, right? With B2B, you work with other companies. I mean, you go from that.
Yeah, I mean, JVM is a B2B company. We don't do communication for ourselves.
How do you break when you work with AI or with all these projects? How is it work for you? Because I have to, when I go to companies, a lot of change management and they take contract that because adaptation in your field. For the last 6 months, I was flying around the world and like consulting companies about. It's usually the CEO or CMO says, oh, we have to do something with AI, and then you have a team who has to solve anything, and they don't know. They neither have a budget, nor they have a task, nor they have a KPI, which marks their success. And Accenture made 3 billion euros just with answering these questions in workshops, which is way more money than OpenAI made. So I think because I'm like a creative, I just build things and I show them, and everything what we have created for brands, we just tinkered by ourselves and then showed them and showed them, oh, is this cool? Yeah, it's cool. Does it feel differently? Yeah, it's like it's somewhere hitting a nerve, and if it does, then we make a project out of it. You first?
Honestly, can you repeat the question?
I mean,
I lost a little bit.
so press for the moment was I was asking how the adaptation is when you want to sell your technologies. Is it difficult or is this what do you feel?
Well, it's always when I really need. So we're not an agency. We work in use cases or we problem solvers. For example, we had one case which was first a research project we've done for EHK here in Brandenburg, and they had the idea to have a conflict management trainer in AI in VR. First of all, okay, can do it, and we prototype realized it worked pretty well, and then we demoed the prototype at the innovation day, and all of a sudden there were companies asking, okay, this is really cool, it really solves the problem, because nowadays it's when you insult the employee in a conflict tone, and or even damage, it's a big loss for the company. And it happens so often, and so the company is really said it's great because then our affiliate or leaders, they can train conflict management, they can train talk, and they're mostly not trained. So I think sometimes you need to face real problems and to solve something. And I think AI can there do a lot.
Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question too?
Sure.
What I'm asked all the time is like, where are your servers? What's your DPA, your data processing agreement? Is this GDPR conform? How do you put yourself in the EU/AI Act? What are your like free killer answers to this questions?
First of all, what we actually did in the beginning, we worked with OpenAI service,
which is already bad. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So
which we don't thing, but it's not really
no.
So what we did, we now created our own service. So we know what we do, and each client has his space, his own learning model. So we can say you have a closed model, our server standing in Wuppertal, running on green energy.
So your service means like you downloaded some open source LLM, and this is where you're hosting it?
Basically, we work on an open source LLM, yes.
Do you want to say which one?
I have to ask my developers.
Okay. So it's like with OpenAI, this is very important for you. You don't have to do this. You can use Azure, which is like distributed like Microsoft thing, and then this is GDPR conform. So this is a problem which is solved, but I think this is one way of doing it.
Yeah. When you trust Microsoft and its policies.
It's like I'm just talking about legal.
Yeah, it's a legal stuff.
Is that
the safe side, but it's costly. It's one problem. So if you have many requests, it's really costly.
Yeah.
It's not to forget. So it's because basically all this AI processing, it's not for free. It's something you have to keep in mind, especially when you do operations which work on masses. Good when you compare to the PBS prices, that is for free. But for example, when you use it as here we have our try-on, it can be really costly.
Do you want to say how much you pay for generation for compute second?
I can't tell you.
Okay. Are you on a serverless infrastructure?
No, it's really our hardware, our service.
Okay. So, cool.
That's great. We had just a conversation on stage. I love that. Instead of asking me questions, let us really.
I hate panel discussions. No one is saying anything, but there's so much words here.
I always ask myself, how can I make people talking? That's very great.
Yeah.
Thank you. But we have to wrap up. I think Amelia from Google comes to me on stage, and because it's 6, everybody wants to see the game.
Yeah.
I don't know. most of us. So thanks for organizing and helping us and hosting us here. We have to say we have been part of the Google Accelerator the last 3 months. That was amazing. And who did that accelerator, I met Amelia, and she was helping us to organize everything here. And I think maybe you want to talk a little bit about Google and Accelerator and
yes.
So?
Thanks everyone. We'll keep it short and sweet as I know it's a wrap up and everyone wants to see the game. Very happy to host Yoona and Anna here with everyone today. It was a good conversation. We heard a lot about cloud and data and very good discussions. So as Anna mentioned, we as Google startups, the cloud team, we organize accelerators regularly actually, and we subsidize startups that are part of the program with Google Cloud credits. So you can try all these amazing AI generating multimodal applications and from our library. for free for like 1 or 2 years. This is also something that Anna and the team was part of, and it's a program we organize across different industries several times a year. So part of that is also onboarding, mentorship, a lot of people on the engineering side as well that can sit together with your tech teams and actually walk you through the model garden for the cloud, what models are available out there, it's an open library, and actually how to set up the infrastructure to use them. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, I think we've heard a lot of the leverages that the cloud can bring, and I think there's two big parts of it. One is the data infrastructure and security, and which we have, and then it's also, as the guys before alluded to, it's compliant, it's all your personalized private data secured on your cloud, but stored on the Google Cloud Platform overall. So this is an infrastructure we support, and then the second part is obviously models for personalization. I think it's very important to really be very user-centric and come to the consumers where they are. So a lot of the models and a lot of the products that we have on the Google Cloud side and on the Google Ads side actually support businesses in this matter. So I think that Anna and the team's learned a lot through the accelerator and how to leverage some of the products. And this is open for companies at a very early stage as well. So we do that several times a year.
And I would say thank you to you. Thanks to you. Thanks to everyone being with us today, and thank